Hey, I'm Shay, and this is Hey Shay. Come talk to me. Oh, I'm tickled. Hair out today, so I'm feeling myself. Nah, but what's up? How y'all doing? I'm doing a heck of a lot better. If y'all hear this squeaky chair, listen. This is what we got until I get better. Okay. Boy, I've had a rough little time here as of recent, but as I stated, I feel a heck of a lot better. And I kind of just wanted to I actually sat down with a different thing that I was just going to talk about, but I think I need to go ahead and talk about what I've been going through. So give me this right here. Let's get into it. What I have is my personal knowledge and opinion on the Law's universe. Hey, I'm Shay, and this is Hey Shay. Come talk to me. So as I just stated, I have something else in mind that I was going to talk about, and I'm going to probably just have to do that at another time. I may go back into it and do this video today, and then again I might not. Right now I'm going to talk about what's on my spirit. So yeah. So Sunday, I was really just having a moment. Just a little background of what's kind of been going on with me. I have a clothing brand. If I look this way, it's because I got something else I need to make sure I attend to over here. So yeah. But I have a clothing brand. I have this brand, which is all an extension of me. I have another channel as well that I'm kind of getting in motion and getting rolling also. So as a content creator, as a creator in general, because I think a lot of people want to focus on content creation when the initial art form that you have is your true creation, right? That's the real creation. So as a creator in general, if you know anything about that, you know it gets difficult because even when you don't want to create, you should be doing something anyway, right? Sometimes you gotta force the ball. Sometimes you don't feel it. Sometimes it just don't seem like it's there. And you just gotta make it do what it do, you know? You just gotta come up with something. You just have to try something. You just have to shoot your shot. You just have to get the ball rolling, keep the momentum going. That is the thing. It's keeping the momentum going. So in that, I really sometimes just get a little mixed up with everyday life. Me being a Capricorn, and this is not just being a Capricorn, but I'm just gonna talk about me specifically. Me being the type of person that I am, if you watch my introduction video that I did just yesterday, then you'll kind of know kind of what my purpose is, what my goal is with this channel specifically, and really what my purpose is overall. Because ultimately, I've said this before, like whatever your purpose is, you're just doing that in different avenues of business. Once you do business, if you are living out your real purpose. Some people just have businesses because they can make money from doing it, completely different thing. Because I'm doing this and not even really making any money. I've been creating without generating any income, right? So obviously, I have to love something about this that I'm doing. So with that being said, give me 1 second. Okay. So with that being said, it requires my energy, it requires me, it requires my time. It's not something that I can just put a system in play for somebody else to just do for me as a whole, right? And if I don't have the income as of right now, then how am I going to pay someone to do these things for me? Like, I have an income, obviously. But what I mean is, I'm not making money from this. I have to take the money I make from my 9 to 5 and put into these different avenues and put into these different places and things that I'm trying to build. And in doing that, you have to start out with what you have, which are those things that are free. Um, and so I blame myself, of course, because who else? But parts of me have been just wrapped up in who I am as a person, right? And that's going to be one of the things I talk about. Just this part of me that has been holding me back. So, as a creator, like I said, you have to have certain things in play. You have to constantly create. You have to continuously be in a mind space to even be able to create. So, you have to generate this energy and then put it into whatever form of art you have that you needed to have the motion in. Okay, so boom, you do that. And so then after that, you have to put it out on these platforms. These platforms, they have their own requirements or things that they are looking for, ways to do things. They're always updating. So it's kind of like you trying to fit your content into these algorithms, into these things, and you get caught up in that. And sometimes you forget that God is the one who's moving these puzzle pieces in reality, right? Like, hold on. Let's just stop the tape real quick because I know it's some people who are going to be like, oh God, this, oh God, God, God. I'm not here. I'm not here changing anybody's belief system in regards to who they believe in, because see, that ain't even my business. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. I believe in God very much so. I don't believe in everything, whatever, but that's for me to be on. I'm just here to do what I'm here to do in regards to helping people get closer to themselves. So that is why I don't get too far into that. Sometimes you forget that God is the one, if that's who you believe in. I mean, and my face is because it's a lie. I understand. I get it. Whomever it is that you believe in, you forget that there's a power beyond you who has much more control of things than you do. So that's where the faith and the prayer and the works come into play. And sometimes you try to be the machine and do all of these things on your own, that it gets quite hectic, right? Okay. So you don't produce as much content. I just said I have 3 different things I'm trying to build right now. Really a little bit more than 3, but 3 is just top priority. These 3 things, while still having to hone my skills in different areas and things that I can't right now pay for that I still need. I have to learn how to do these things myself at this time. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure I probably could scrape dust um, to try to come up with money and save, but I also have other things that's going on in my personal life that I'm trying to do. On top of that, you have things that's going on in the world, inflation, recession, high interest rate, like the list can go on. But the point is, through all of that, you have to still maintain your insanity. Not your insanity. You have to maintain your sanity, honey. It's been insanity. But through all of that chaos, you have to remember those parts of yourself that make you you. Those parts of yourself that have gotten you this far, and those parts of yourself that still have not developed, right? Okay. So I've said all of that to say, in this time of me trying to do all of these things, you lose yourself in all of this. right? Even though you're working on yourself, because I've been working on my health, I've been working on my wealth, building these different things that I can later on be able to eat off of for the rest of my life. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so during the process of trying to build wealth, you have to put in work, but you need you in order to do so. But not only do you need you, other people need you, because again, within your purpose is always to serve other people. Take a moment to think about it. Whatever your purpose is to help somebody else. So, you have to take care of yourself, for not only yourself, but also for other people. And it really hit as of recent. But, so I actually had a conversation with my grandmother the other day, and I was just telling her, like, it's wild because you talk about, and hopefully, Grandma, you don't mind me sharing this. I don't think that you will, because it's something simple. Yes, my grandmother watches me, and I love it. Thank you. I love you. Because you just don't understand that you actually have motivated me to make sure that I stay on top of doing these. Not only you, but you, and shout out to Deja as well for being in the comments. I thank you. I thank you. And we're going to be linking up soon. You feel me? For sure. But, and I'm going to repost that video, the one we did for sure. But I had to take it down because I wanted to rearrange some things. But I'm going to put that back up. It really still is on YouTube. It's just not public. But I got. So anyway, yeah. So within that conversation, she talked about when she is getting ready to sit down and try to meditate, she keeps getting interrupted. And I told her, I said, that's funny because it's like every time I get the ball rolling, get my momentum back up and get back into my zone of creating and doing work and focusing on these skills I need to hone, it's like that's when people want to hang out. You know what I mean? That's when people want my attention. That's when people want my energy, basically. And like I told her, it's nothing against you specifically or to anybody specifically, because you don't know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't put people in my business like that. So you don't know that I'm over here for the last 2 months. That you talked to me a little on and off, that I haven't really been putting in the work like I need to in certain areas. And now I'm trying to get back to that. And then the time lines up, and then that's the time where you like, dang, I hadn't talked to such and such, I want to kick it, right? And I said, it's me being tested because it continues to happen. So then it has to be a thing where I have to prioritize, and I have to shift some things around, and I have to understand that I can't try to hang out or try to kick it or try to do things out of feeling guilty. Because let me tell you, I don't know if anybody is like me, but do you know sometimes when you haven't talked to somebody in a while, or you haven't hung out with somebody in a while, and they reach out to you and they want to kick it, especially a loved one, that's what I'm talking about. And then you have this like guilty thing, like, dang, what if this is the last moment? Being that it's so chaotic in this world. It's like, damn, what if this is the last moment and I put my work over them? But really it's your purpose, you know what I'm saying? And not to even neglect your loved ones, but it's just like, it's just a moment of understanding that that's not your control. Regardless of the fact of, even if that does happen, that's not your control. You never had control over that. You know what I'm saying? And so I have been tested, like I said, multiple times. And so I just had to get to a point where it's like, yeah, that's that. You know what I mean? But it ain't that. Because you're projecting. Give me one second. It's like you're projecting that energy. It's not even a guarantee that that's going to happen, right? So you just coming up with things again. To me, that's the devil. That's how the devil works, bringing up things that low. You know what I mean? To get you away from what you're supposed to be doing. And you know that's what you're supposed to be doing because, again, every time, and then you know as your momentum continues to be broken or you allow your process of your stride or your energy to be broken, your focus to be broken, and then you get distracted. That's all it becomes, a distraction. And then it also becomes a thing of if your loved ones don't understand that, that's a they problem. Not saying mine don't because they get it. But what I mean is they don't even be knowing that sometimes I have these feelings. I just expressed that to my grandma just the other day. And of course she told me, just let me know, woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, sometimes I do. Just like, no, but I might not go into the reason as to why. And I know one thing with my mother specifically, in the past, it's like you always got stuff, what I'm saying, you're trying to do. But she didn't understand that it legit was like times where I was just bouncing back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to neglect because you need to have relationships with your loved one because we can try to obtain all of these things in life, but at the end of the day, you're not going to have this time with them forever. You feel me? So, yeah. But you got to get over that. And for me, it was getting over that right there, You got people that you love, man. And like I said, at this point in life, you want to make sure, you're able to really enjoy your people. So yeah, because at the end of the day, most times, you doing it for not just yourself, but so your loved ones can also, man, get to enjoy life and enjoy things. You feel me? Ain't like they just not gonna enjoy it if you don't make it happen. But again, you be wanting to experience new things with the people you love because you can get all the money in the world. As they say, what is all of that if you ain't got it and you can't share it with the people who you love the most or the people who you went through this stuff with? You know what I mean? To even get it. So, yeah, that's that, and that's been a conflict that I have had with that duality of time and just time in general, and moving forward in your purpose and having to say no to things, man. And this journey is a journey. So you gotta just pick and choose, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta just trust that you're making the right decisions. And just knowing what you feel inside and knowing how God moving you. Everybody's not gonna understand that. And I had this conversation with I had this conversation with my love, like, listen, it's crazy how you watch these movies and you see these people who, left their family and went out to do these things in life. You know what I'm saying? And then they come back home and everybody want to shit on them. You know what I'm saying? For kind of leaving and just not fucking coming back sometimes. Or coming back very little. You know what I mean? And I understand why. You know what I'm saying? I got it, in watching the movies and like, shit, I get it. And a lot of times it's because your family either they don't want that kind of lifestyle, or two, they just don't put in the work to get to that level. And then they expect you to be the person who they can just eat off of. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, people make a little money and then you want to be there with your hand out, or you want to be there like, So you got it. You know what I'm saying? So why you can't spend that bread? You got it. You got that bread, sister. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, watching this back is a little shaky. I can't lie, I shed a couple tears, but I'm stopping this because I'm not saying that it's okay to leave your family in the dust. You feel me? Because obviously you heard everything I just said, but I understand why people do these things sometimes because family dynamics get real weird. People really don't understand. As you get more money, you are taxed more. If you don't know what you're doing, you ain't breaking even, or you ain't, you know what I'm saying, over it. You ain't really getting it. On top of that, more than likely you move into a bigger house, your bills more. It's like the cost of living, like this shit even itself out. And people don't understand that. In order to really live that high level, man, you really gotta have a couple $100,000 meal plus. You feel me? So, once if you decide to, make some money and live in a regular neighborhood. When I say regular neighborhood, meaning a middle class neighborhood, because I would assume you wouldn't make $1 million profit, and then you turn around or net, and then you turn around and go and buy a house in the hood. I just don't see that happening. So, um, yeah, man, unless you go kind of along those lines, middle class, still a nice neighborhood, woo, 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 you can kind of make that make more sense, right? But then you have those other things that you worry about, safety, blah, 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 yada, 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 woo, 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 right? So, it can get really weird, man, when money get involved, when with people. So, I just know that I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the person, one, who you think you can just rob. Two, who you think is supposed to just give to you and you give nothing. We barely even talk, but you can call and ask me for some money. And this is another thing, which actually is what I was going to be talking about when I started this conversation, and ignored the other conversation. But it was going to be about like being that for people, man, and people not really being able to really be that for you. You know what I mean? In another sense, like if I am the person that always is able to give my energy, people come to me to feed off of my energy when they, you know what I'm saying, need that. And when I say that, meaning needing that caring, that love and supporting energy because they know I'm willing to do it. But at some point in time, you gotta have somebody who asks you, like, how are you doing? How have you been feeling? You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I do have that. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they do ask me, and at that time, I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? So, hey, but it gets to a point where you yourself have to understand that you have to just let that stuff out. You know what I mean? um, and you need to, because I personally have probably had maybe 2 times in my lifetime where I've thought about EXO. You feel what I mean? Well, not EXO, but you know what I'm saying? It is not a laughing matter, but like this was when I was younger, you know, and onto my young like middle school era, and probably even high school, early part of high school. But as an adult, I really have not thought about that in that sense. But I get why people And you can circle it back to a couple people who you know just as of last year or maybe even the early part of this year who has done that. You know what I'm saying? And you might have seen those same people smiling all the time and actually in the moment having a good time. But see, it's not the moment, it's those things that you push to the back in other moments where you know you couldn't express yourself, because if you do express yourself, somebody's going to be defensive. Or if you do say certain things, then people are going to downplay it. And you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a real, a real thing, a real thing to check in with yourself. Because at the times when I used to do those like constant self check-ins, evaluating to see where I am right now in life. And that was the thing that happened. I have been having a good time. Now don't get me wrong. I've been having a good time. I've been setting goals, I've been making plans, I've been doing all kind of stuff. But then you realize that you have not done that internal check in a while. You know what I mean? Because you got yourself to a mental space and point where you feel like the momentum up, I'm doing it, I'm getting it, it's happening, things are rolling. And then you have those, little things that pop up like telling you can't do it when the devil get to trying to talk to you and telling you, all these things because of your circumstances and because of all of these odds that seem to be against you. And then, as I said, you have to circle it back to realize you really don't have that much power. And what I mean by you is that thing that's trying to keep raining down the BS on you. You really be having to check that, man. You really do. And I be telling people sometimes you have to have conversations within yourself, just like telling that thing, like you got to back up. I don't know what you talking about, but God make real moves and start speaking real love and compassion for self and love for self and appreciation for self. Because sometimes you look at all that's going on and trying to create and trying to bring forth these things and materialize these ideas, and then it seems like you just have something that keep pulling you back, right? And it gets to a point where you can no longer make excuses for yourself, even though, don't get me wrong, these excuses are real life issues and problems, but it's an excuse because once you get to a certain level of consciousness and a level of spiritual or awakening to where you've done these things in your life before that built this thing, you know what I mean, within yourself to give you this courage to put you back in alignment with faith and all of those great things. It's possible. But sometimes, and you get to forgetting. And so with that being said, that's why the mental check-ins and the check-ins with yourself constantly are important, because you change and evolve so much. So much. So I just want you to know that regardless of what is happening in your life and around you, and I know I talked about different points, the real point is to just understand and remember that everything that you need or you truly desire is really already within you. And there's always going to be something that is going to try to talk you out of what it is that you want or what it is that you are trying to do. But what you have to do is remember who you are, because when you're growing and changing so much, sometimes you can forget who you are in the process, because you're seeing so many new things and you're experiencing so many new things and so many new parts of you that you've never dealt with. that you're having to deal with. And while you're also doing that, you're having to let go of the old parts of you that no longer serve you. And so it becomes a bit much. So just continue to do the self check ins every day to constantly like do a temperature check to see where you are within yourself, and continue to set goals. Continue to make sure you are carving out time to be with yourself and blocking out all distractions. So if you got to put your phone on do not disturb, do what you got to do to make sure that you don't get those distractions, and just pray and ask God if you do have the fear or you have the anxiety sometimes that I have and these things pop up. Just pray that God, you know what I mean, remove those things from your mind and make sure those things do not happen. And just do what you got to do for yourself so that you can show up in the way that you need to show up in the world for not only yourself, but for other people. And it took me by storm that day, so much so that I wrote this. And I'm just like, look, you got to do a self check-in, but you got to do a self check-in to the point, because my business has not moved forward the way that I wanted to, because I have not done this self check with myself. Because again, I create from me, from within me, from a space that requires me to be authentic, to be open, and to be honest, and to be just as raw as possible without being too fucking raw. You know what I mean? And that's been the challenge with me in creating. How can I show myself? How can I be honest in who I am, but not put people too much in my business? Because we know. Pretty sure you see it play out all the time. So I expected none of this, but I am appreciative, and I'm grateful for this moment and that moment. But anyway, just to give you an idea of kind of what I wrote down, the first thing I wrote down is just who is Shay, and then I have my full name here. And next question was just like, why do you create? You know what I mean? I ask myself, why do I create? Why do I create music? Why do I create YouTube videos? Why do I create in fashion? What is my purpose? What is my vision? And what is my desired end goal? You know, you have the answers to these things starting out. You know what your purpose is when you know early figure out what you want to do. But again, as you grow, you have to get even more specific with these things so you'll know what you're working on at that time in your life. The next question is, how am I trying to reach people and why? Not how, I meant who am I trying to reach and how, you know what I mean? The next question was, what do you want others to see through your existence? So I was able to answer these questions, and I allow myself time. I said, if it takes months, however long it takes for me to be able to answer those questions, I need to be able to answer those questions before I create anything else. Because if not, I'm going to just keep creating with no real, like, I have a purpose, but I can't be specific and very intentional in what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So, about 2 days later, I was able to answer that question, but it's because I took that time out for myself. With my energy up, I got back into just the simple things that I make sure I do, but those simple things also that I have not done in a while that I needed to do. So, with that being said, continue to check in with yourself, man, because you can really be living life on autopilot. You can be having a good time, but you cannot be working on your feminine energy, and you can be just living and existing in mostly your masculine energy. And it causes internal turmoil when you do not do those self check-ins with yourself, and when you do not nurture yourself and your feelings and your emotions, and when you just do not work through things. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully you watched the whole video. If you did not understand, as I stated in my intro, do whatever you feel like you have to do. But if you do watch my content, make sure you do carve out some time to have some time, because it is something that should be important to you, because it is in regards to working on yourself. And it's not just hearing me talk about myself or what I'm going through, or talk about certain topics and subjects, but it's literally here to not only help myself, but to help you, because you are led to the video for a reason. So yeah, my nose feel wet right here. Hopefully y'all have not been looking at the wet booger. But it is what it is. I'm about to get up and put some food in my stomach because I'm hungry. And thank you again for being here, for watching. Yeah, love on yourself more than just externally. Love on yourself internally, so that you can keep the ball rolling, So you don't just wake up one day and make that drastic decision, because it's like, dang, what have I been doing all of this time? I've been living, but I have not been feeling alive. It's probably going to be the name of this title for this video. Y'all be light, y'all be easy, and come back. If you want to talk to me, you got something you need to get off your chest, come talk to me. I put my Instagram in the description. It's on the screen.